Do you want to master Riven? Do you want to win every game as Riven? Do you want to get her best build? Then you are right place. I will show you the best build for Riven and a quick guide to master her in Wild Rift. So, Riven, who once a swordmaster in the Warhists of Noxus, Riven is an expatriate in a land she previously tried to conquer. She rose through the ranks on the strength of her conviction and brutal efficiency and was rewarded with a legendary runic blade and a warband of her own. However, on the Ionian front, Riven's faith in her homeland was tested and ultimately broken. Having severed all ties to the Empire, she now seeks to find her place in a shattered world, even as rumors abound that Noxus itself has been reforged. So, we will begin from her abilities. First of all, her passive. Runic Blade. Riven's abilities charge her blade, and her basic attacks expend charges to deal an additional damage. Next, her first skill. Broken Wings. Riven lashes out in a series of strikes. This ability can be reactivated 3 times in a short time frame, with the third hit knocking back nearby enemies. This is also quite simple skill. Next, her second ability. Kai Burst. Riven emits a Kai Burst, damaging and stunning nearby enemies. This is a very useful ability as it stuns enemies. Next, her third ability, which is Valor. Riven steps forward a short distance and blocks incoming damage. Next, the one and only ultimate Blade of the Exile. Riven empowers her keepsake weapon with energy and gains attack damage and range. During this time, she also gains the ability to use Wind Slash, a powerful ranged attack. So, only knowing her ability is not the thing, you also need to know her ability order, so here is the ability order for Riven. Level up Broken Wings at level 1, and then you will continue leveling Broken Wings until it's maxed. After that, you can start leveling up Valor followed by Kai Burst. And whenever you can upgrade the Blade of Exile, you need to upgrade it. So, before knowing builds and all, let's know her pros and cons. So, her strengths. Very mobile with her Broken Wings Q and Valerie, which allows her to get out of sticky situations with ease. This makes her a menace for the enemy backline. Her ultimate Blade of the Exile can allow her to execute low health champions easily. This becomes really valuable during a team fight. She has her own form of CC on her Kai Burst W, which, when combined with her dashes, can allow her to land a multi-man stun. This will allow her teammates to follow up on the all-in. Next, her weakness. Extremely weak when she is CC''B, as she can't use her dashes and can be killed easily. This allows the enemy team to pick her off before a major fight or when her Broken Wings Q is on cooldown. Too steep of a learning curve, which makes it very hard for new players to master this champion. Effectiveness is reduced if the player can't cancel auto-attack animations. Very hard for her to come back into the game if she falls behind early on. Very useful for the enemy team to gank her when she is pushed up or dive her when her Kai Burst W is on cooldown. So, now let's look at her builds, spells, and runes. So, first up we will look at runes. So, first of all we got Conqueror. Conqueror fits really well in Riven. Next is Brutal. Brutal will help you a lot in the beginning of the game, or else you can take Triumph. Next, take Hunter Titan. Or you can even go for Bone Plating. If you like. And for next you need to take Hunter Genius. As Hunter Genius really works well on Riven. You don't want to pick Sweet Tooth, although it is a broken rune, but still don't pick it as Riven doesn't use mana. Now for Summoner Spell. It's very easy for Riven. You need to take Ignite. If you don't want Ignite, then you can obviously go for Barrier. Then obviously for the next spell you will need to go for Flash, as it works really well to escape the fight or gank in the fight. Now, let's get into the main part, which is the items. So, first of all you need to take Black Cleaver. Without this Riven is like not Riven. She needs to Black Cleaver, which will give you more attack damage. Next you can take Yamu's Ghostblade. Then you need to take Gluttonous Greaves. Then you will need to take Starax Gauge. Then you can take Death Stance. Then you can take Mortal Reminder. Or instead of Mortal Reminder you can take Guardian Angel. So, this was a simple build for Riven right now, as it just the starting. After some time we will obviously get the best builds for Riven. So, here are some other builds on your screen. You can choose any one and play with it. Now, let's begin the real guide. First we begin with the game plan. First, our game plan is of early game. His champion is an early game bully. Play aggressive throughout the laning phase to get kills. If you can get a kill or two, you can snowball your lead pretty quickly. Whenever your ultimate Blade of the Exilar is up, you can look for aggressive plays to try and kill the enemy. Your ultimate Blade of the Exilar is a great trading tool which makes you much stronger. Keep the minion wave even or slightly closer to your side of the map early on. This will allow you to run the enemy down while protecting yourself from ganks. If you keep pushing when you're not ahead, you will be unable to run the enemy down, and you'll be an easy target for the enemy jungler. So, early game is necessary, but mid-game is the phase where you want to pull the game towards, so let's begin about mid-game. So, split push during the mid-game and try to secure side objectives. Avoid grouping if possible. Use your strong dueling potential in the mid-game to fight and duel anyone who tries to stop you from split pushing. Although you're a really strong split pusher in the mid-game, be prepared to group with your team and fight 5v5. You should usually start grouping when there are no nearby objectives to take. Split push during the mid-game and try to secure side objectives. Avoid grouping if possible. Use your strong dueling potential in the mid-game to fight and duel anyone who tries to stop you from split pushing. Although you're a really strong split pusher in the mid-game, be prepared to group with your team and fight 5v5. You should usually start grouping when there are no nearby objectives to take. So, if you win the game in the mid-game then it's okay, otherwise you will need to look at the late game. Late game is the phase where your mind needs to react to the situations perfectly well, otherwise game may get tilted. After going in with your ultimate Blade of the Exilar, be prepared to fall back and peel for your allies in late game team fights. To make getting on the enemy backline easier, group with your team, but stay off to the side. If you flank from an unwarded bush, the enemy will find it harder to react to your all-in. Avoid splitting or being away from your team in the late game, as the enemy will force a fight while you're gone. Play around your ultimate Blade of the Exilar in the later parts of the game. Avoid fighting unless your ultimate Blade of the Exilar is up. Fighting without it will make the late game team fights much harder. Delay fights and be prepared to disengage if it's still on cooldown. So, only knowing the game plan is not enough, so we will also need to her counters and how to play against it. So, firstly, her main counter is Renekton, which is an extreme level. In the Renekton matchup you need to have Ignite and win level 1 all-in. If you can't fight level 1 because he got his rage sooner, just stay under the tower until level 5. At level 5 you can all-in with Ignite if he uses W or Q in a bad way. It's the worst matchup for Riven. Get plated steel caps if you are having trouble. Next is Kennen, which is also an extreme level. This is one of the toughest matchups for Riven because Kennen has a lot of stuns and can just E out your trades. Here you need to go for Mercurial Boots and Hex Drinker early if you want to get a chance to kill him. Next is Gargus. He is also an extreme level. Really tough matchup if he's good because his dash has the most priority in the game. Try to not use your third Q if he has his ESO. This were some of her extreme threats. So, here are some of the champions with best synergy with Riven. First is Lulu. Turns you into a raid boss in team fights. Next is Orianna. Perfect team fight combo. Next is Rammus. He's just strong by himself at ganking. If he gets you a lead you can pretty much carry the game. And for last is Dinah. This is a huge combo to execute in team fights or skirmishes. If you both fight in the both place, you pretty much win it. So, I have given 11 combos of Riven. You can see all of it